நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டமிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை முதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம் வியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
One tree can start a forest, one candle can wipe the darkness. A true leader has the confidence to stand alone. Now I invite our principal to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Good morning to one and all present here. It's a great pleasure to welcome Mrs. Kavita Ramu, IAS, Director, Integrated Child Development Services Department, Government of Tamil Nadu, who is our distinguished alumni from the Department of Economics and the PG and Research Department of Public Administration on Role of Youth in Democratic Governance, The Way Forward, jointly organized by the Postgraduate and Research Department of Public Administration and Indian Institute of Public Administration, Tamil Nadu Regional Branch. On behalf of the management, Punjab Association, faculty and students of Anna Adarsh College for Women, I extend a very warm welcome to you. I am equally delighted to welcome Thiru Sampath, IAS, retired, Chairman, Thiru S.S. Jawahar, IAS, retired, Honorary Secretary, IITA, TNRB, and other distinguished members from the IITA, TNRB fraternity, who have been the pillar of support in collaborating with the Postgraduate and Research Department of Public Administration for the past 15 years and organizing seminars on socially relevant topics. A warm welcome to our correspondent, Sri Manjeet Singh Sethi. I extend a very warm welcome to all the faculty members and students from other universities and colleges and our own college for their presence. Today's topic, Role of Youth in Democratic Governance, The Way Forward, is a very relevant topic as meaningful democracy requires the meaningful participation of youth. Their participation in democracy promotes active citizenship, strengthens social responsibility, and can enhance democratic processes and institutions. And today's young citizens are tomorrow's leaders and decision makers. On this note, we have with us a very eminent person to share excellent knowledge and throw light on the importance of youth participation in governance. In this regard, I'm happy that the department has organized a seminar on a topic which deals with one of the most significant areas of governance. My congratulations to the Department of Public Administration and my best wishes to them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your noteworthy words. Your hard work for education brings the best in us. I would like to forward with a quick review of our department's activities and achievements. A gracious and inclusive welcome to our respected sir, Mr. S.S. Jawahar, IAS, retired, Honorary Secretary, IIPA, Tamil Nadu Regional Branch.
Good morning to all of you. It's a very fine day. We have been organizing this seminar for the past 15 years, as our principal madam rightly pointed out. So that way, I am very happy that all the Anna Adarsh College madam also said that we should continue with more of our activities And I would like to also mention that IIPA is always ready to collaborate with Anna Adarsh College and its students. Today's topic, as a presidential address, I would like to mention 3 points which will enable perhaps the chief guest, a very eminent personality, will be able to further tread on those subjects. Number one, I would like to say demographic dividend of India. Secondly, I would like to mention that most important thing is democracy. Third is very important, where the quality is important, the quality of our words and deeds. Then these 3 factors, where the demographic dividend of the youth, the democratic values, faith in our democracy, and more the quality of both the individual and the society, I think it will take us further forward. I think with these presidential remarks, I would like to conclude my speech, and thanks for every one of you for giving your rapt attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your informative words. I now invite Dr. Maslan Ma'am, Head of our department, to invite our chief guest.
Good morning to one and all present here. A warm welcome to our correspondent, Sri Manjit Singh Sethi. At the outset, I've been asked to introduce the chief guest, Ms. Kavita Ramu, IAS, who is the director in the Department of ICDS, Government of Tamil Nadu. She's my student. I have the privilege of introducing a student as a guest in our department, in our college. So it's a great, proud moment for a teacher. All teachers' dreams have to come true. They want to see their students flying high. Kavita Ramu, she was born in Madurai. She saw her father in the civil service, and she was very much desperate to join the civil service to serve our country and our society. And her mom was a professor in the economics department. She has always been good in academics and was a university rank holder during graduation in economics and a university topper during her post-graduation, where she bagged the first rank in our department. Above all, she was also recognized by our management, and she was given the Jewel of Anna Adarsh Award was bestowed upon Kavita Ramu. It was done during the 75th anniversary of Punjab Association. She is serving the Department of Integrated Child Development Service. She is the director of the ICDS department, Joint Commissioner for Relief and Rehabilitation, District Revenue Officer, Chennai District, and General Manager for the Tamil Nadu Tourism Development Corporation, Director for the Department of Museum. She learned Bharatanatyam when she was just 4 years old, and she's a performing artist in Bharatanatyam for more than 20 years now, with over 650 stage performance to her credit, having learned the art form from Srimati Neela Krishnamurti and the legendary Guru Srimati K.J. Sarasa. Various prestigious awards, including the Yuva Kala Bharati and Nadanamani, apart from several endowment awards. Above all, she is our distinguished alumni, and now we are very proud to invite her as the guest for today's webinar. Thank you.
The role of youth in democratic governance and the way forward. This is a very wide topic, and as Jawahar sir rightly put it, we have a huge scope for youngsters to participate in democracy. He has pointed out the 3 eminent important notes that have to be taken into consideration when we delve into a topic like this, which has a huge scope, and we as a country and with a huge youth population have wide scope in this topic. Now, talking about democracy itself, we all know that countries world over have seen several forms of governance and have found, and it is proven, that the democratic form of government is the best. and the best possible government. Rightfully so, and basically because the people are supreme. We reign, we choose our leaders, we have the power of vote with us, and also because we trust in free and fair elections and civic engagement, human rights measures that we take, and also to ensure that law and order prevails. Democracy as a form of government, as I already mentioned, acquires huge importance because we get to choose our leaders. So what do we do while choosing our leaders? Do we go out and vote as youngsters? Do we even engage in active politics? We don't. What we do is, sadly, we have a lot of engagement in social media. We create Twitter handles, we create hashtags in Facebook, Twitter, and other social media, and try and vent out whatever we have, the anguish, the fear, everything is vented out on social media. But is the same crowd going and voting when it comes to an election? That is a question that has to be, that needs introspection. When we think about it and when we talk about it, we know that the youth do not engage in active politics. They do not take part in the voting process itself for various reasons. They think the system is corrupt. They think there is widespread nepotism. They think it is not going to help. They think the person who is a candidate as in their respective constituency does not hold credence. So there are various factors that the youth has in mind and does not go out and vote. Or they might, there are many instances where the youth also thinks that this is an opportunity, this is a holiday, and might as well sit and watch a Netflix series and complete the series instead, rather than go out and vote and exercise the franchise. But what the youth fail to understand is that universal adult franchise is the basis on which the democratic setup is set. So when you don't go out and vote and don't exercise your franchise that is being bestowed upon to you by this beautiful democracy, you are very sure that you are going to get the same kind of people who have ruled over you. When you talk about the Indian democracy as such, ancient India never had features of democracy. We had monocracies, we had aristocracies. So we never had, we had authoritarianism, but never had worth mentioning cases of democracy. India as a country, as we all know, is the largest democracy. And as Sir rightly put it, we have the most number of youth. 29% of our population come under the bracket of youth, which is 28, 29 years. Democracy, the youth form the pillars. But when you talk about the role of youth in democracy, we also have to know what prevents them from getting into active politics in democracy, despite the fact that there are many advantages in a democracy like popular sovereignty, people are supreme, political equality. We treat all persons, everybody as equals, irrespective of their caste, creed, race, religion, etc. But all this are the tenets of democracy, which may not actually translate the same way in reality. Get into active politics, there are a lot of issues that have to be addressed. During the time of independence, we were a nation that was underdeveloped, which had a lot of regional disparities, unemployment, poverty, and we were still wanting in various welfare measures for the public. But since independence, we have changed a lot. The face of India has changed quite a bit. Nevertheless, the present day youth of India do face a lot of challenges, which is so much woven with the socio-economic, political fabric of the country, like poverty, illiteracy. Illiteracy, when you take illiteracy, this is one of the most important concerns that the country faces. Due to the various socio-economic political measures taken by consecutive governments, today we stand at a rate of 65% for women and 82% for men. This is, which means we have taken huge steps, large strides in as far as education is concerned. Nevertheless, there is a gap of 25 to 30%, 35% in case of women, which have to be bridged. Without education, as like Jawahar sir rightly mentioned, without educating the huge mass of youth, you will not be able to create a change in their mindset. You will not be able to imbibe in them the political consciousness and socio-political awareness, and they will not be able to shed all other hurdles that are preventing them from getting into active politics. The second major reason is, as you all know, is poverty, which is the greatest bane of democracy, which causes all forms of inequalities. Democracy, rights and privileges form a huge ambit within which the framework works. But then, when the youth of today are not even informed of what their rights are and what their privileges are in a democracy, they will not be able to get on into the process of democracy. Just I would like to broach upon the topics. When we talk about the factors that are exclusive to India, talk about regionalism, the regional disparities in both in income and wealth, and also in the socio-economic political development of the masses. You will not be able to, for a basic knowledge or a basic comparison, you would not be able to compare Tamil Nadu with a state like Bihar. You will not be able to compare Kerala with a state like UP. There is a widespread and widely upscaled differences, which makes the country very unique, which makes it sadly it negates the principles of democracy. We are not equals. We are not. What happens within the state is also undemocratic in many manners. Youth engagement is totally different state to state, and it is very widely. The gap is very visible. And when you talk about the Indian setup, you would have to touch upon corruption. India ranked 95th of 183 countries defined as corrupt in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index. Youth engagement in active politics acquires much more relevance when you talk about all these factors. Social justice is so important when you talk about a country like India. And we say, as a person who resides in Tamil Nadu, I'm very proud to say that we are much more aware of the socio-economic justice background, social justice needs. There are different studies which say that the present day youth can be the best decision makers. There is a study which says that youth are able to look at it from a third person perspective. And coming to voting, they don't, as I already mentioned, due to these various factors, and also basically due to the mindset that the politicians are corrupt and due to the politics is bad. This is the basic mindset. Everyone you talk to, every second person would say, I would not want to go and vote. But the perspective that they have towards politicians should change, which means this will not change unless and until one becomes a politician oneself, and for that one has to start voting first. The youth of today are better equipped in terms of facilities and in terms of knowledge. They are better equipped. So I'm sure the youth of today would have the vision to look at everyone from the perspective, their own perspective, and from the perspective of the other person, and find out and figure out what best can be done for the society, for democracy to thrive, for a person to thrive as an individual and as a responsible citizen of the country. I'm sure with these small things that the youth take into mind, their role becomes enormous, and their role in democracy, in the democratic process itself, which can be indirect and which can be direct, will be bettered in the years to come. The youth face so many challenges here that are unique to our country, and how they should get over these hurdles, get over these challenges, and become better citizens, and rightfully exercise their vote, rightfully know their privileges, and help each other in becoming a better democratic country. With these words, I once again thank all my beautiful teachers out there, my beautiful senior colleagues, beautiful junior colleagues and youngsters. I just felt like speaking whatever I wanted to. Thank you all very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Every student should inculcate all the values you have put forth. I'm privileged to invite Dr. Maslan ma'am, HOD of our department, to publish the newsletter of our department.
Today, we are releasing our newsletter for the department, named as Leader, the first volume and the first issue.
It's my proud privilege and honor to release Anna Adarsh College's Department of Public Administration's newsletter.
For discussion.
Can you share your first experience of voting, ma'am?
Yes, thank you, Sophia. When you go and vote for the first time, what you should take into consideration is, first you have the ideology of the party in mind. What is the ideology of the party? Is it in any way discriminatory in nature? Is it going to divide people based on whatever discrimination is what you should have in mind? Secondly, you broach through the list of candidates much earlier than you go to on the election day. You assess the strength and weakness of the candidate in question, the candidates in question, whether the person will be able to deliver, whether the person is more corrupt or less corrupt in comparison with the others, whether the person can be vocal, whether the person will be able to give voice to the opinion of the people in the particular constituency. These two are the major things that you should take into consideration, right, for the first time. And I'm sure you're going to be thrilled and elated. Thank you, Sophia. Sashana?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sashana.
And what are all the values that we should develop or participate in the governance, ma'am?
First main and important and one crucial factor that has to be developed by a person, be it in politics or whether he is going to be in service, is that he has to look at the other person as is equal. He is a person who has shed all other inhibitions. You should be able to put yourself into the shoes of the other person and be more empathetic and understand his problems and his challenges from his shoes. So being empathetic and to look at the other person as your equal are two crucial factors to being a good politician or being a good administrator.
It is my pleasure to announce the first place, which goes to Jayaprita Nestilin from Madras Christian College. The second place goes to Shashana. I think she is a student of Anna Adarsh. Third place goes to Aishwarya S. Anil. She is from University College, Thiruvananthapuram. And my hearty congratulations to all the participants and the prize winners. Thank you very much for the Indian Institute of Public Administration. Have a wonderful day.
I welcome Dr. S. Maslan ma'am, head of the department, to deliver the vote of thanks.
It's an honor to have been asked to offer a vote of thanks in this webinar, especially our chief guest, who is our student, Miss Kavitha Ramu, IAS. Very proud to thank you, and it was a wonderful session, Kavitha. Offer my thanks to our IAPA chairman, Sri Shankar, and to our honorary secretary, Thiru Javagar sir, as well as the IAPA office bearers and members. A special thanks to Dr. K. Usha, who was a predecessor and retired head of the department, who was very instrumental in getting this association with the Indian Institute of Public Administration. Thank you so much, ma'am. As well as we thank our correspondent. I thank our principal, He's always encouraging us to come out with a lot of new ideas. Thank our director as well as faculties of other universities and colleges. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for all the participants who took part in the essay competition. Thanks to Dr. Jayaprada, who was the judge. Last, I have to thank our own department. It is our duty to do, but still, we have the unsung hero always behind the screen, working day and out for this webinar. So, once again, I thank everyone, my department staff and students too, who have been really wonderful in organizing this webinar. Thank you all.